Do you ever try getting clients from LinkedIn, but it just doesn't work or doesn't work well no matter what you do? Guys, if that is the case, you're in the right place because in this video, I will share the 6 steps we use to get this digital PR agency owner from getting rejected to signing 5-figure retainer deals in less than 6 weeks, while, and that is the best, most challenging part, while being from and being based in Bengaluru, India, when his clients are from the US and other countries. Hey, I'm Artem, and I build client acquisition systems. So if you're relying on referrals is not for you and you want to have a predictable client acquisition system, get my guide from the comment section below. I also, because you're so wonderful, I invite you to smash that like and subscribe button so you will be notified of my future videos, training videos, because they can help you grow. And now let's get back to the digital PR agency owner. Meet Anirban. Anirban is a digital PR expert that has helped over 130 startups with brand reputation and fundraising through strategic digital PR. And this is Anirban's message to me 6 weeks after we started working together. Here's what he sent on the 10th of January 2024. Also, just to let you know, I booked 6 calls yesterday and closed 3 of them today on an average of $16,500 deal on a retainer. And I'm being very, very happy for him if you could see that. Now, if you look at how it started, it didn't look pretty at all. It was pretty ugly. This is his message on the 28th of November 2023. So again, 6 weeks before you can see the results. He sent me this message on LinkedIn. There he goes. Hello, Artem. Have you ever thought of getting featured on USA Today or Fox? If yes, could you reply to this message and I will show you how we can do it for you. Thanks, Anirban. And as you can see, I'm really not into it. I'm like, I'm good. Thank you. After that, we had a message exchange on LinkedIn where I invited Anirban to join my group where I could help him to do exactly what he's looking for. And he did join my group. And this is our message exchange in the group. Hey, Artem, thanks for sharing the sign up link. I just pitched you on LinkedIn. So, yes, I am looking for more clients. And I'm being super honest and direct as I am. I'm like, saw it. Horrible approach, brother. But no offense, because I genuinely want to help the man. And Anirban is like, none taken. So, how did we get from total rejection and complete ugliness in direct messages to $16,500 on average per deal on a retainer while signing up these clients, signing up US based clients directly from Bengaluru, India? Huh? How did we do that? Well, we did this for Anirban's digital PR agency. It also works for any B2B business, coaches, entrepreneurs, digital agencies, financial advisors, or anyone looking for B2B clients. So you are in the right place. Tricky stuff we had to deal with. Anirban is from India, and there is a certain aspect to it, the Indian aspect. We all know what I'm talking about. For example, his potential clients thought that his service is of low quality, and frankly speaking, his wacky messaging kind of supported this view that they had. They also try to negotiate the price down. And I know what you're going to say. Everybody's getting this. But once you're from India, this price negotiation thing is really strong because people from other countries believe that the Indian price should be much lower, even though the type of the service they're actually getting is of super high quality. That's the reality. Anirban has also never worked with clients directly because he worked with agencies as a middleman. So he would come to an agency and you would talk to an agency, and then the agency would give them some work, different kind of client profiles. So there's no specific niche or anything. So Anirban worked as a middleman offering white label service. So what ended up happening is that the agency would pay Anirban a percentage of what they would be charging their clients, while Anirban would be delivering all the work. So as you can imagine, that's if they're like that's a fraction of what the client was really paying for them. So after Anirban realized that, well, he started trying to work with agencies, with clients directly. So the problem was that he was lacking a clear niche position and offer. And I will speak a lot about this in a few moments because this is really, really important. And here's how we dealt with these challenges to get to those $16,500 retainers in 6 weeks. There were 6 steps. Step number one was all about niche, positioning, and offer, something I just mentioned a moment ago, and I will cover again in a moment. Step number two is about optimizing your LinkedIn profile. So, what do people see once they check out your profile? Super important. Step number three, lead acquisition standard operating procedure. Once you've got your niche, once you've got your position and your offer, your LinkedIn profile is optimized. This is when you have to start showing your LinkedIn profile exactly what you do to your potential clients. This is very, very important. Step number four is all about message sequences. What do we send our potential clients? What is the cadence? How frequently do we follow up? What do we follow up with? This is all this message and sequence. This is all it's all about here. Step number five, sellucating content. Sellucating stands for selling and education. So you combine these two to create the presence while also talking to your potential clients' problems and their fears and how it all works. Step number six, fine tuning. What has worked? What hasn't worked? We come back and see the system. Can we trim something down? Can we improve something? Can we add something else? This is what the step is all about. Now, let's talk about them each step by step. Niche position and offer. Anirban used to work with agencies as a middleman. Again, the agency would have all different clients from different profiles, different niches, different requirements, everything. So once he started working with clients directly, he started pitching too wide. I mean, after all, he even pitched me, and like I'm not definitely not in the market of getting featured in all these publications because even though it's nice for me, I don't really have the value. Okay, I don't really have any crazy benefit from it. So he's pitching too wide. After we started working together and we talked, we discovered that his digital PR service is perfect for tech startups that are looking for more funding. This is a very, very specific niche, right? So this is not just like any startup. There's like tech startups that are also looking for more funding. They're not looking for just funding, they're looking for more funding. So they've already obtained some funding in the past, but now they need some more. That is exactly what his niche is. So you can already see how much tighter it is. Okay. He also positioned himself as someone who guarantees placements in certain highly specific publications. Other digital PR agencies are like, yeah, we'll get you featured somewhere, but they don't really know. They cannot really promise. And Anirban went the other direction. So he positioned himself as somebody, okay, you want to get featured in Fast Company? I'll get you there. Entrepreneur? No problem. TechCrunch? Easy money. That's his approach. Okay. So he guarantees placements in specific publications because specific publications are important for tech startups. Yeah, because they would then go to investors and they've been featured there, and then they can show off and be featured in highly specific publications. So that is his positioning. His offer is also formulated around that principle. Okay, not going to go into that because it's kind of confidential. So, but his offer is what he's offering to his potential clients. Now, to be honest, the moment we figured out his niche and had the product market fit, he just started getting inquiries on LinkedIn. That is why it's so important to spend a lot of time on this first step, niche, position, and offer. Because really, once you find this hungry audience, once you find these people with a specific type of the problem and you give them the solution, no matter like it becomes so much easier. So really, really want to spend that time on the niche, your position, and your offer. Understand what's going on in the market and see what are people looking for really? Are they looking to get featured in any publications like in Anirban's case, or are they looking for specific placements? Really spend some time there, okay? Product market fit is super, super important. And to confirm again, to confirm, this step is the hardest one. It's also the most boring one because you have to spend like, oh, what's my niche? What's my position? What's my offer? Once you figure the stuff out, just work. So spend some time there. If something is like, if you're not selling your service, something is off, and usually it's this thing: niche, position, and offer. Who is your target audience? After that comes the easy part. Okay, the first step, you've done the niche, position, and your offer. Now comes the easy part. This is the LinkedIn profile optimization. Okay, let me ask you this question: what's the goal of your LinkedIn profile? And while you're thinking, 1, 2 seconds, I'll give you the answer. And the answer is, it's to convert people that have never seen you before into your prospects, leads, and ultimately clients. Okay, I'm going to repeat this once again. The purpose of your LinkedIn profile is to convert people that have never seen you before into your prospects, leads, and ultimately clients. To paraphrase, the goal of your LinkedIn profile is to become a landing page. Yeah, this is something that once people check out your LinkedIn profile, they read it, they skim it, they're like, oh my God, this guy's talking to me. This guy's talking to the problems I have. I'm going to see what he's up to. Okay. And I'll show you exactly what I mean in a moment. There are 6 parts of LinkedIn profile optimization. And I'm not going to go into huge specifics of each part because that's another separate lecture that I have for my clients, my students as well. But I'm going to touch them briefly for you and give you an example afterwards so you know more or less what I'm talking about, so you have some value, gain some value out of this. Profile image comes first, okay? Then the banner, headline, custom link, you'll see it in a moment, the highlight section, and the about section. I'm not going to go into them right now again because it's a lecture that I teach my clients, but let me show you what Anirban's LinkedIn profile looks like now, so you have a good understanding exactly of what we've done, and I'll give you some really cool stuff now. This is his profile, okay, as of now. And I have a bunch of points here. I have 4 points, so I'm going to drive you through them right now. Number 1, profile image. What is the first thing that people look at, that people have never seen you before? What's the first thing that people check out in your profile? Yeah, profile image. This is just how our brains work. When you're looking through the crowd of people, you're looking at faces, and we've got this built-in facial recognition feature in our brain. So we're looking for faces, and the moment we see a familiar face, we know it right away. We also can tell things like likability. We also can tell things like influence, trustworthiness, just by looking at people. That might be completely off, but this is the perception we can have of different people based on their facial expression, based on their posture, based on their articulation, based on the clothes they're wearing. Okay, this is very, very important stuff because it works in the subconscious mind. Okay, and if you can affect people's perception of who you are on the internet, especially on your LinkedIn profile, you should 100% use this. Okay, and I'm going to show you how in a moment. So this is his profile picture. Now, second point is the banner. The banner is there. It's to do 2 things. It's to grab attention, yeah, and to speak to your potential clients, your ideal customers, and provide some social proof. Anirban's banner is all over the place. Like, it looks pretty crazy, but it works. Okay, it works really, really well. So as you can see, he's got this big name. So there is some social proof right away. TechCrunch, Nasdaq, USA Today, Fortune, Fast Company. And then in the middle of the banner, he is talking to his target audience. Grow your startup 10x in 3 months using with this BARF technique. And everybody who's from the States are like, what is BARF technique? That sounds crazy. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It grabs people's attention, works pretty well. And then he's got this Forbes in there, and he's like, your face here. How good is this? That's nice. Of course, everybody would be, you and I, we all want our faces to be there on Forbes just to show off and show like how good we are. So that's really, really good. And he's got the Trustpilot thingy as well, rated excellent. Trustpilot to 210 plus reviews. Crazy social proof. Really, really good stuff. The banner is done. Now we're moving on to number 3, which is the headline. The headline is another opportunity to call out your target audience and provide some social proof and potentially have a call to action. Okay. Here, Anirban is saying that he's a digital PR expert and he's helped 130 plus startups with brand reputation and fundraising through strategic digital PR. He's also a LinkedIn top voice. So again, social proof, talking to a specific target audience. And you can see the top brand and voices there in Anirban's profile. He's achieved that status recently. Number four, this is the custom link. Okay. So this is the link that people can click and it will take them to wherever you send that traffic to. I don't recommend using calendar links here because booking a and this is something people use frequently. Booking a call with you is a pretty high commitment step. So if you're not really well known, if you don't have massive followership of people that know what you do, booking a calendar, it's a bit on an overkill. You want to filter out the people, provide them with additional social proof because in this case, Anirban's link, it takes people to a landing page where there are some bunch of case studies, some testimonials. So he's driving this traffic through that landing page and people check it out. This is a low commitment step, but just you click a link, you don't have to book anything, and you check out what he's done for his clients. And people skim through this page and like, oh wow, it's really, really good. Going to book a call with this guy. Because again, from on this landing page, now he has the calendar link, and this is where you can book the call. So that's how the profile is optimized. I'm not including the highlight section, the about section here because it will get too long, but they're also optimized in a specific manner. Again, once again, to drive traffic to that landing page. Okay, so that's important. Everything goes to the landing page. Quick note on the profile image, and this is something I absolutely love this stuff. Here's Anirban's original profile photo. So this one that you're seeing here, it's as you can see, it's the same, but it's not, right? This is the original image. And he had this image, and I look at it, I'm like, Anirban, this is not a good image, because you want to convey competence, likability, influence, trustworthiness from your profile image. The best way to do this is to use what is called Duchenne smile. Okay, Duchenne smile is what Hollywood actors, politicians, and other people use in order to convey all these features that are highly desirable in for the reasons of like competence, likability, and influence. So if you smile in a certain way, people are attracted to you right away. Isn't it magical? So he gave me this photo and I uploaded it to the website called Photo Feeler. And I just wanted to show you just how bad it is. We had 10 votes there. The profile is business because you can choose different reasons, to get different feedback. And I had a run through that. I mentioned that once you choose business, you have to choose like the position, the what exactly he's doing, and put digital PR expert. And then 10 people voted, and basically these are average results that he's gotten. Competence 4.1, likability 4.0, influence 3.8. It's pretty horrible, right? After that, I took this photo and ran it, and I ran it through Face app. Okay, so I highly recommend this app, Face app. I do this all the time. What happened then? These are the results. And I've got my camera here, so you cannot see it. But the difference is really, really crazy. Competence, likability has gone through the roof. The influence is at 7.7, you can see. Likability is around like 9.1 or something. You can see what the app has done. Now, our man, Anirban, has a really warm smile. It also reduced slightly his weight as well in the image because you can tell it's missing, right? So now the profile image is a lot more welcoming. It's warmer. It's much nicer. So now when his potential clients see his profile, they look at his face and like, this guy is pretty likable. He looks pretty influential as well. I highly recommend you do this optimization trick on your profile image. It makes a big difference. Step number 3, lead acquisition standard operating procedure. Driving in leads. Once you convert your LinkedIn profile into a landing page, You need a constant flow of people to check it out. Even if you're selling lemonade in a desert, yeah, something that you can potentially see as a highly demanded type of thing because of how people would be um, how people would actually want to drink in a desert. You obviously need some traffic. That's why it's not a really good idea if you sell lemonade in the desert because well there are no people there are no eyeballs. You have to drive eyeballs to your LinkedIn profile for it to work. This is when you pinpoint your ideal customer profile with Sales Navigator. So before you start driving the traffic, you need to understand exactly who other people are. Who are you selling to? And this is when the Sales Navigator comes in place. There is no argument in whether you need Sales Navigator or not. You must have it. Plain and simple. Go get it. Must have it. And I then can stress just how important it is to nail your audience and make it as small as possible, especially at the start. Okay. Because again, going back to the first step, niche offer and positioning, you have this for a highly specific audience. And you really want to get feedback from this audience, especially if your sales are not going really well. Okay. You really want to make sure because that's that's what everybody everybody I work with, they're like, oh yeah, that looks like a good list, and then there's like tens of thousands of prospects there. I'm like, no, this is not a good list. They're all over the place. That's not how it's going to work. Remember, Anirban, he picked a very specific type of a startup at a very specific stage. That's how specific you should be. Think of like 100, 200 people that are your perfect clients. Make them as homogeneous as possible. So if you already have one, two clients, or you had one, two clients before, and you like working with them, you can look at their demographics, how old they are, what's their marital status, where they're based, and you can look at their psychographics as well. What hobbies have they got? Who do they follow? These things, once you put them together, will give you a very, very good profile image of your ideal customer, especially at the start. So make your audience as small as possible at the start. If you've got like 100 200 people, that's a very very good start. Okay, because then you can get very very good feedback from these people and see whether your offer makes sense to them, because if it doesn't make sense to them, you have to change your audience or adjust your offer. Usually the offer is a little bit harder to adjust because you have a um, certain skills so that you are using in order to provide the result to your target audience. It can be the case that they just don't need that. Okay. But some other target audience needs your skill set. So you go and pick that instead. Here are some tips from Sales Navigator Search. I recommend finding companies first and then finding people that work in them. By the way, again, Sales Navigator is a beast on its own. I have no time to go over it here. I did some videos in the past. You can check them out. Or if you need some help, let me know. I'll help you to pinpoint your ideal customer profile on LinkedIn Sales Navigator. The reason here that I recommend finding companies first is just because the way Sales Navigator works. Okay. So once you go into Sales Navigator and you're like, okay, I want all these biotech startups and I want the CEOs of these biotech startups. So you pick biotech in the industry. You can do that in Sales Navigator. And then you pick the current role as a CEO. What ends up happening is that LinkedIn is going to show you a mixture of people. Some of them are in biotech, and they can also be CEOs. The problem is that they can be CEOs in other companies they have listed in their LinkedIn profiles. Maybe in the past, maybe currently, because it's also very common. So they can be working in a biotech startup as a chief operations officer, for example, or even something else, director of marketing. But then they can also be a CEO of their own gig, something they're doing for themselves, like solopreneurship, whatever it is. And LinkedIn will show these guys as well. So you end up with a very fluffy list in a way. Okay. So you kind of want to start working from the companies first, because first, if you find the companies, you find biotech startups with specific characteristics, and then you can build a list out of those companies and then find the people that work in them. So find all those CEOs of all these biotech companies that you pinpointed. Okay. Filters I like the most are company headquarter location. That's a basic one. Company headcount. That way you can pinpoint how big is the company, how much revenue they're producing every single month or year. It's a good filter. Seniority level. I love this filter. I don't recommend current job title filter because it kind of excludes a lot of qualified prospects. Again, the way it works is that somebody in a biotech startup, they can come in and they can write themselves, I'm a happiness manager. Okay. In reality, they are actually a director of marketing, but they're not saying this on their profile, or they're using some other description, which is harder to pinpoint because current job title, once you write your the job title that you're looking for, it's very, very specific. Okay. So if the person that is they're using some other words there, LinkedIn is not going to show this. So that's why I recommend seniority level because then now you can say, okay, I need everybody who is senior, who is director, who is vice president, who's C level, who is a partner, co-founder, whatever. These things, founder, these things. That's why it's much more useful. Okay, so recommend seniority level filter. I also love using LinkedIn's Boolean search to find companies and appropriate decision makers. Boolean search stands for basically using advanced search operators. This is your way of telling LinkedIn that you want a specific type of audience without while excluding, for example, somebody else. So, for example, if I'm looking for biotech startups in the company list on LinkedIn, I'm I'm seeing a lot of recruiters. So basically, what I'm going to tell LinkedIn is that I want to exclude all the recruiters. So I'm going to write NOT, all caps, not, and then write recruiters or recruitment. So any of the company profiles that mention recruiters or recruitment, which is typical for a recruitment company, they will disappear from the list. The same applies to decision makers. So you can really pinpoint your ideal customer audience. Highly recommend Boolean search. You can Google that. I also recommend using posted on LinkedIn toggle to find the most active LinkedIn users so you have a higher chance of acceptance. LinkedIn is a social network, which is, when it comes to the usage standpoint, is not very it's not very on top of the list when compared to say Facebook. So even though the person is present on Facebook, frequently they will not be logging into LinkedIn frequently, or they won't be using LinkedIn that frequently. So this is when this filter comes in, post on LinkedIn. Once you toggle that, LinkedIn basically shows you anybody who's posted or reposted content in the last, I think it's 30 days, maybe 90. So that way you are, you're more likely to come across somebody who's more active on LinkedIn. If they're more active on LinkedIn, chances are higher they will see your connection request, they will see your interaction with them, and you're more likely to connect with them. Okay, I use this filter especially on larger audiences because I obviously want to have I want to be as efficient as effective as possible. Going back to Anirban right now, his target audience was marketing directors working in tech startups and SaaS companies. So here's how we found them. This is an example. This is the draft result. This is not complete result. I just want to show you exactly how it's working. Okay. So again, I've got 6 steps here. So let's go all over them. So the first one is the top left corner. Okay. You can see here there are 2 tabs, lead and account. In this case, I'm using account. Lead and account. If you were to translate this then from LinkedIn's English to basic English, you end up with people and companies. That's it. People, lead, companies, account. That's it. In this case, as I said, I like using the company search first. I'm using the account tab. Second step, pretty easy. Company headcount, 11 to 50. In this case, we want to have, it goes like 1 to 10, 11 to 50, 51 to 200, 201 to 500, I guess, and so on. In this case, we are picking 11 to 50 because for Anirban's specific case, the company needs to be pretty big in order to afford the service that he's offering. Okay, so 1 to 10, that's a little bit too little. So that's why we're going to 11 to 50. So think whether your company is like, what is the target audience for a company in terms of like company headcount? Because the bigger the company is, the more decision makers will be involved in making the decision to work or not work with you. Okay. So that's why it's important to understand exactly where you're at, because there's a big difference between a company, even inside this like 11 to 50. There's a big difference between a company that is like 12 people and a company that is like 45 people. Okay. Makes a big difference. Now, headquarters location, this stuff is easy. United States. Now, the industry, number 4. You can see here that I've got all these industries excluded. Okay. So basically, the way I do this is that I get initial results and then I look through them and see exactly what I do not like. So in this case, I want to work with startups, yeah, or SaaS companies. So I don't need anybody who's doing software development. I don't need staffing and recruiting. I don't need advertising services. I don't need IT services and IT consulting. So anything to do with consulting should be taken out right away. Why do I do this way? Well, because once I'm excluding specific industries, I end up with a list of other industries that fit my ICP. Because tech startup, they can come in and they're like, oh, we are actually a technology, information, and internet company. We're in this industry. Or they can come in and say, well, we are an e-learning provider, even though they're in technology, information, and internet as well. So what do they decide in their mind when they fill up this LinkedIn company description is up to them. And my goal is to find that and pinpoint that. Of course, I could pick just one industry, just include one specific industry like e-learning providers. I have this example here, number 5, formative, if you look at it. That can work pretty well. The problem is that you might end up with a list that is pretty short. So see how it works for you. Yeah. Do you need to keep it wider or you don't? In this case, we go to fast forward a little bit. If you look to the top right, you see number 6, point number 6 there. I have 10,000, over 10,000 results. So that's a pretty big list of companies. So I might as well just include, that's a big list. So I really want to I want to cut it down significantly before I go and start working on it. So that's the reality of it. Now we're going back to number 5, the step right in the middle, the search bar. This is the example. It's fairly sophisticated Boolean search, something I mentioned in the previous slide. Here, basically what I'm saying, I'm talking to LinkedIn. Basically, I'm asking LinkedIn, okay, LinkedIn, I want any company that has mentioned words SaaS, software as a service, or platform to be in the list. However, at the same time, I don't want any company that has mentioned words like agency, consultant, consultants, recruitment, or investor in the company description. Take them out. That's the purpose of this Boolean search. Okay. You can also use the industry thing that I showed you previously. So these things work together, and you can kind of fine tune, trim your results because of that. Once you have a pretty good list of the companies, what you do next is that you can build up a list of them. I'm not going to go into the specifics because I don't want to clutter this specific video with highly specific details, but basically you select all these companies that fit your ICP, and then you view current employees, and you end up here. And if you look at the top left sidebar, I'm now in the lead tab. So now I'm looking at people, not the companies. And the companies are selected under point 1. You see the list of the companies there that has been selected. Now, if you go down a little bit, here I am. I'm skipping the current job title. I'm going directly to seniority level. Owner, partner, C-level, director, and senior. These are the guys that I want. Number 3, the search bar, I say marketing because that is my decision makers. Yeah, I want people that mention marketing in their profile on LinkedIn so I can talk to them about the digital PR opportunities that we can offer to them based on the service that Anirban has. Number 4, all the way to the right, top right corner, I have 178 results out of those 25 companies. So that's a pretty big result. So I might connect with all of them, might connect with some of them, but that's the reality. What happens next? Anirban would then connect with 200 prospects every single week. Why 200 prospects every single week? Well, because this is LinkedIn's limit with paid Sales Navigator subscription. Again, there's no argument whether you need Sales Navigator or not. You must have it. 200 prospects a week. You cannot skip those. Okay, you have to use up all those limits. I recommend starting doing this manually and then transition to using an automation tool like Linked Helper 2. And I've done an interview with the founder of Linked Helper 2. This is one of the most popular, one of the best LinkedIn automation tools when it comes to connecting to your target audience. Check out my interview with the founder. You'll see it on the channel. Why do I recommend starting doing this manually for like 3-4 days at least? Well, because once you go through these profiles, you develop better understanding of who these people are. Okay, check out their profiles. You see what they write about. You feel the vibe. Basically, you understand where they come from. You kind of you get to know them in a way, okay? And that helps you afterwards to develop the message sequences, okay? Because you check out their profiles, you understand what's going on. Maybe you have to filter them somehow, some other way, okay? Because again, you see that the profiles you're checking out manually, they're not really fitting your ideal customer profile. Maybe you have to go back one step. That's why I highly recommend starting this manually, 3-4 days, so you get a grip of it, and then you can transition to using an automation tool, something that is safe. Again, I recommend Linked Helper 2. I'm using it myself and I haven't had any problems with it so far. I hope it goes like this as well. Always a risk, but I haven't had any problems. After this step comes the next. Okay, so after we've pinpointed these people, we started connecting with them, comes the next step. Message sequences. Very, 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 very important. There are two goals for every message sequence. Goal number one, get a response. Okay, if you really don't get a response, there isn't much you can do. So getting a response is the first micro goal, micro step. Second one, have them book a discovery call with you as quickly and efficiently as possible. Okay, that's the second goal. That's how you start the sales process, because you cannot really start selling through the DMs. The only thing you can start selling through the DMs is booking a discovery call with you as quickly and efficiently as possible. That's it. I'm not going to dive deep into any of this messaging sequences because it's highly specific to your business. Okay, highly specific. It's your business, your niche, your ideal customer profile, even your personality. Okay, because the types of messages that I send out might be completely not suitable for you. Okay, the message sequence is something you create yourself. If you need some help, reach out to me. I'll help you out. But here are some tips. Again, I want you to gain some value from this training. Tip number one, never pitch your service in the first message. Never do this, okay? Pitching in your first message turns off your prospect completely right away. Everybody's been doing it for years now. Doesn't work. Just don't do that, okay? Never do that. You, there's no coming back from that. Tip number two, while you're not pitching in the first message, you have to be transparent about why you're reaching out. Don't waste people's time. Okay. So this is another extreme. That's the worst thing. People send messages like, "Hey John, how are you?" And that's it. There's nothing else in the message. And clearly, John can clearly see that you have some agenda, but for some reason, you are not being transparent about like why you're doing this. Okay. And John is like, "Yeah, I know where this is going. I don't like this. I don't like the start." Be transparent by why you're reaching out. Okay, don't waste people's time. Be respectful. Tip number three: compliment, don't critique. So one of the great ways of starting a conversation with whoever you're reaching out to is compliment their efforts, compliment whatever they've done. If they have a really good website, maybe they have a horrible website, but you like the font, compliment. Okay. Maybe you like their content on LinkedIn. Be very, very specific. Give a compliment about a very specific type of content. I don't recommend critiquing. That's what like SEO people love doing. Agency guys, they would reach out to their potential clients and tell them everything that is wrong with their websites. And I'm like, this is madness. There's this business owner, or maybe it's a company, and they've like this department working on the website, and then this guy out of the blue, out of nowhere, comes up and tells them about everything that is so bad about their website. How are they going to see that guy? Okay, what's their attitude to that? Compliment, don't critique. Tip number four, share the results of your work. Lead with the results, because ultimately you are there to solve your client's problem so that they're better off after working with you than when they were before. Okay. Share the results because ultimately that's what clients care about. Okay. What kind of results can you offer them? What can you help them? Share case studies, share the results. All these things are very, very useful. Tip number 4, be persistent. Don't disappear. Be there in the messages. Don't expect people to reply to you from the first message, from the second, from the third. Be persistent. Don't disappear. At the same time, don't be pushy because people on their own schedule. People, we buy on our own schedule. And maybe you are guilty of that as well. I certainly am. Sometimes I get messages from people and I really need some follow ups before I reply to those messages, even though these messages come from people that I know, okay, that I know personally or that we've been communicating for a while. Sometimes I need that because I'm busy, I'm not feeling like replying, whatever it is. People buy in their own schedule. So you have to be persistent. You have to be there when they're ready to buy while not being pushy at the same time. There's a fine line in that. I hope you can see that. Tip number 7, use humor, make them smile or even laugh. Humor thing is a little bit tricky, okay? You really need to understand how it works, and especially for your target audience, if you're ever using this stuff. Uh, we ran this campaign during COVID, and well, that spin, the humorous spin in that specific message sequence, it was tricky. It kind of divided the people into two separate categories. One absolutely loved it, and the other one absolutely hated it. Yeah, so kind of divided people like that. So be careful what sort of humor you use and whether it actually fits your profile. But generally speaking, I like jokes. I like humor. So I use this stuff. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But ultimately, I also want to work with people that I feel comfortable working with. So that's why this humor component is important to me. Once you get initial responses to your messages, you can adjust them based on the feedback. So to get people on the phone even quicker. What do I mean by this? In this case, in Anirban's case, he did these adjustments and he went from on average 8 messages to approximately 3-4 messages before he was able to book people on a discovery call. If you can make certain things faster, you should absolutely do that. Maybe your target audience for your offer, maybe they're really like, maybe this pain is very, very obvious and they just need a solution. So you can make your message sequence a lot shorter, like what Anirban did. Maybe, maybe it takes a bit more message in there. So you have to keep it longer and see what works, what sort of triggers. So you have to always be kind of testing out the triggers, see what sticks, see how it works. Okay. Just make sure that you are getting that feedback and calibrate, always calibrate. And while Anirban is sending these direct messages, what is he doing at the same time? That's exactly what our next step is all about. And the next step is sellucating content. While you are adding your ideal potential clients to your network and having direct message conversations with them, you also produce content. Quality content that targets their fears, concerns, and problems is a way to build more rapport with your target audience. I'm going to repeat that once again. Quality content that targets their fears, their concerns, their problems is a way to build more rapport with your target audience. Why is that? Well, because they can see that you understand exactly where they're going for, where the stuff they're going through. Okay, that's very, very important because once you can really strike the nerve, and people buy because they've experienced so much pain in their current state that they want to change this. Okay, it's very rarely that people buy because we want to expect, I mean, B2B services because they are like, oh yeah, we want to feel even better than we're feeling right now. No, it's because there is some sort of a pain that they're experiencing. So you always have to kind of get to that pain. Okay. There are different formats you can use for LinkedIn, and they would fit different audiences, but the main ones are carousel slides. Carousels are like PDFs. You can make them with Canva, and up until recently, they got a lot of traction on LinkedIn. So they would naturally get more impressions than say a text post. Right now, I think they still get an edge, but producing a quality carousel takes a while. So you want to be careful with how much time you invest into those. Videos, again, they can work for a specific target audience. Text, images, these are the content types on LinkedIn. Posting tips, important stuff, huh? Don't post links in posts. That kills your reach right away. LinkedIn, just like any other social network, hates you attempting to take people off the platform and bring them to your website. So naturally, LinkedIn is going to kill that reach. By killing that reach, I mean how many people are going to see your post. And they're like, oh, the guy's got a link in the post. We're not going to show it to many people because he's trying to take them off our platform. And we want to keep them on the platform so we can show them ads and collect our revenue. Okay, we don't want that. So if you want post links in the post, what you really should be doing is that post them in the comment section, but not even immediately. Maybe like half an hour later, or wait for somebody to comment on your post, and only then you post the link. That seems to eradicate this problem with the reach. Start with a strong hook. Okay, this is really really important. Are you able to grab people's attention right away so they click that read more button? Because this is also a sign for LinkedIn that your post, that whatever you've published, has got some value. Because if a lot of people click read more, LinkedIn is going to show it to more people. Okay, so that's why you want to start with a strong hook. Always think about the strong hook. Now use the pyramid style, right? That's the next step. And I really hate this, but apparently that's how we work, right? It's so stupid, we're humans. If you have text going like, the first line you'd have 3 words, and the second line you'd have 4 words, the third line you'd have 5 words. So it goes like this in the pyramid. That's exactly actually what I'm doing here. You can see it right away. See that slight pyramid? We are naturally more attracted to this kind of content because it's so much easier to read and our brain loves it for some reason. Okay. So I highly recommend formatting posts in this specific style because it makes them easier to read. And that's exactly what we want, right? Our clients to do. We want our clients to read our posts and afterwards reach out to us. And you can see that's exactly what I'm doing here. This pyramid style. You can see that my fourth point, which is post only once in 24-hour period, goes like that, the pyramid style. Posting once in 24-hour period. LinkedIn is not Facebook, okay? It has, say, based on your trust scores, based on how well your content was performing in the past, it's like, okay, I'm going to give John 1,000 impressions a day. So if John is going to post one post, he's going to get all those allowed impressions on this specific post, okay? But if John decides to post 2 separate publications, then these 100 impressions, they're going to be divided between these two. Okay. So you're not getting quite a lot of traction. And if they don't perform, because on LinkedIn, again, people don't like frequent content these days. Okay. So that's why you can only really have 7 posts a week if you're posting daily, but you can even scale it down to 3 to 5 because quality over quantity. Remember that, especially now. Okay. Because it's become quite saturated. Quality over content over quantity. Focus on your customer problems and offer solutions. Important stuff. Again, you really want to pick maybe 2, 3 themes that your customers have and then approach them from different angles. You really don't want to change much. It's fairly, fairly simple. Just have to pinpoint the difficulties, the problems, or the fears that your customers have and how you can solve them. Okay, provide them with what kind of solutions. Don't explain them how to do this stuff because you're not looking for DIY folks. You want to explain to your customers what they need to do in order to solve those things, and this is when they can reach out to you. Okay, that's how it works. One thing, do not get carried away by vanity metrics like reactions, comments, and shares, especially at the start. I know it's very hard because it feels so much nicer when you get likes and comments on your posts. But let me tell you this, I had my post go viral. One of my best performing posts accumulated almost 700,000 impressions on LinkedIn. That's like spending tens of thousands of dollars if I was to run this campaign on LinkedIn using paid search. You don't get a lot of clients from that. You just get people from all over the place liking your stuff. Okay. You get a lot of new connections. Many of them do not fit your ideal customer profile. They're just there because you posted something. Means nothing. At the same time, if you have a small audience that you speak to directly, and even if they don't react to your posts, they don't give you likes, they don't give you shares. If you're talking to their problems, if you're talking to their difficulties, this is the stuff they're going to read and they're going to reach to you in the direct message. Okay. Never get carried away by vanity metrics like reactions, comment, and shares because they're not that important. Okay. You have your target audience, even if your post gets seen by, like, even if you get like 300, 400 impressions on your post or even less, think about it that way. These are real people that see your post. So it's not like impressions. These are like 300, 400 people. Even if it's like 50 people, that's a lot of people, huh? It's a lot. So make sure you're talking to them directly. Okay. That's how it works. Don't get carried away by vanity metrics. Going back to Anirban, given he's in digital PR, he's posting a lot of different brands, a lot of what they did in order to basically grow. Okay, so he's sharing these stories with his potential clients because then they can check out his content and they're like, oh my God, that story is so interesting. He's also sharing informational posts that fit his target audience. I'm going to show you an example. This is one of his posts, and as you can see, it has 7 reactions. One of them is Anirban liking his own post just for the sake of it. Why not? We all do that. So in here, he's sharing his story about that only 1% of pitches land funded, and investors make decisions based on how you articulate your idea and its growth potential. And here's where the see more button comes in place. So if people click see more, LinkedIn is like, oh man, this post is getting some momentum. We're gonna give it more reach because ultimately we want to keep people on the platform because if it's something interesting, they will look through it. Okay. So in this case, actually the hook could be a little bit stronger in my opinion. But anyway. And in this specific post, Anirban is sharing he's sharing this carousel. It's actually a carousel. So once you click on it, you see the slides. So maybe put it together in Canva, and you go through the slides. So this is the informational kind of content Anirban is sharing with his specific target audience. Step 6, the fine tuning part. This step is all about looking at the entire system and seeing what we can improve. Can we improve the offer? Can we tweak the profile? How's our message sequence? Is the audience we picked correct? We'll look at all these things and see where we can make adjustments and whether we should make any adjustments. This step is important. But the whole thing, before you get to this step, you have to do one very important thing. Oh yeah, what content themes are getting picked as well. That's another important subject. But before you get to all of this, you have to really launch the entire system. Okay. So you have to pick your niche, your position, your offer, optimize your LinkedIn profile, pick your ideal ICP, all these things you have to launch and start getting feedback from your target audience, and then you fine tune later. Okay. So again, the goal is to launch it all, the entire system, get feedback, and fine tune. See what works, what can be improved. Are we posting the right content? What themes are getting traction? What sort of profiles we get replies from? Fine tuning. This stuff is really hard because there are a lot of moving parts that need a trained eye. If you feel like you might need some help to get going faster, go get that guide I left for you in the comment section down below, and maybe connect with me on LinkedIn. The link is there too. I hope you found this video valuable. Please like, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss my future trainings because they will help you to grow your business. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for being here.